Today, officially, is our last day at the Clevelander, although we will have content for you tomorrow and next week that will come from here. We are leaving, and after 8 years, I asked the entire group, do you think that you will return here for even one moment the rest of your lives? Because my answer is no. My answer will be, I will never be here again. That as soon as
you live 2 blocks away.
I'm telling you that as soon as we leave, it will be the last time I step foot on this property.
I'll be back. Thank you, Clevelander.
Yeah, no, I'll be back. I'll be back for sure. Maybe not for a very long time, but hopefully this is around. Hopefully Miami is still around several years from now.
You've been saying this place is haunted for about 2 years.
Yeah, but once I have enough separation from it, I can come back. And you know how nostalgia works. You only remember some of the good parts. I mean, it's on one of the more central spots of Miami Beach. As a local, I don't venture out to South Beach ever, really, except for coming to work. But I imagine I'll be back out here to rule it off. Right now, I don't want to ever see this place again, but that's just because I'm too close to it. But a few years from now, I imagine I'll want to feel the nostalgia.
You got to be like when you're in college and you come back to high school. You know, just look around and see, I remember when I used to roam these hallways.
No.
Thank you, Roy. We'll get to your top 5 Clevelander memories in a second.
You don't want to play Madonna's This Used to Be My Playground and just wax poetic about all the good times? That time that we walked into the studio and there was a naked photo shoot going on and no one told us and we could never tell ESPN that happened.
I just see myself like in a couple weeks in the new studio making some mistake, doing something, and we reference the old studio and you say, go back to the old studio. And all of a sudden I have to come back here for like a bit on the show.
That's a good
Why would you put that seed in his head?
Yeah, go back to the old studio.
I'm just saying that's how I imagine I'll be back here in a few weeks.
I miss having the beach. I mean, so accessible, even though I never actually went to the beach in my 8 years here after work or anything like that.
Why would you put that in Dan's head?
Go to the ocean.
Yeah.
Wow.
One last time. One more time.
I remember the ESPN executives, all of them, did South Beach very poorly. All of them. And our beloved David Brofsky, frumpy David Brofsky, they would all always come down here and it's the ESPN ethos. They'd spend 6 hours here and fly back. Like they wouldn't actually consume any of Miami. And one of those top executives, I physically walked him to the beach so he could look at it and walked him back before his flight back to Bristol.
Did he have a button-up shirt tucked in to his khakis?
Yes, and his khakis were up to his nipples. Yes. That is all correct. I didn't know. I want to ask the group something because I don't know, as I often don't, if this is a Miami thing or if this is a national thing that is happening. But I have noticed every time that I walk into a gas station, the sheer amount of plantain products being sold, staggering. Like they've replaced potato chips. Like mariquitas and tostones have replaced everything that used to be potato chips. Mike, why have you not left for the ocean yet?
Oh, I had to leave to the ocean? What?
That was crazy. Oh, no, I thought it was Mike. I'm with Dan.
Yeah.
You said you've never been. He said, why did you put any ideas in his head? You stared at me with a grumpy face, and I sent you to the ocean, and you're still here.
Yeah, not doing that.
I don't know what I'm going to do with... I don't know what I'm going to do with this.
I'm wearing J's.
Like, this is not...
Get the hell out of town. I'm not taking my shoes off. No, I'm not taking anything off.
This is
settle down.
So you're just going to flagrantly disregard what?
Yeah, last day of school vibes. I'm 37 years old. Get a new angle.
We're smoking in the hallway later. When it comes to the plantain situation, that is definitely a Miami thing because the Migos have potato chips on every aisle in Atlanta. So we still going.
Even in the water aisle.
I have noticed. I have noticed Rick Ross and Jason Tatum do have their faces all over the chips in the places that I'm going into. But I'm correct, right? That they seem to be multiplying these banana products. But you guys think this is just here because clearly the salty chip flavor is something that is exploding because everywhere I go in these gas stations, it's like they've got tons more of these products than they have of any other snack.
With a dab of ranch.
No.
It's never ranch. Hold on, it's never ranch. It's limon. You have the mariquita. You have the sweet mariquita too, which is incredible. It's like a sweet potato but mariquita style,
Yeah.
and they cut them really
There's
thin.
the yuca chips too.
Yuca
which
chips,
are,
but
be
those-
careful with those.
Yeah.
Dangerous game.
Yeah.
They'll slice your throat up.
Those are a little bit more like starchy
Are you sa-
than the platanito.
Are you saying you can hurt yourself? You know?
Yes, I am. You're funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to go to the beach because I didn't have an offense. It's just what? We're just sending people to punishments? I just said I'd never been to the beach.
Now we're going to continue to explain why you're just simple. Like that's ever
Insubordinate.
been one of the really. So explain that. So every other one has been fair except
Yes.
the first time that
Yes.
you get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
makes
have-
total sense.
Well,
It's-
what's the
yes.
original sin?
Yes. No.
What
of
did I
course.
do?
No.
Did I
no,
kill
no,
anybody?
yes, of
Hold on.
course.
That was alive? What did I do?
I like Dan defending it. Like, yeah, all the other ones were unfair as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. No, totally ridiculous. Be like, why should I go to the beach right now?
No, look, everyone else has been sent unfairly
Yeah.
to the ocean. There's only one asshole who refuses.
Yes.
Only
Yes.
one.
How about you call me an asshole? We're colleagues. you
Actually,
go to the beach.
Yeah, Dan, have you ever
Yeah,
gone to
we're
the
going to
beach?
the beach.
Go to the beach,
I didn't
Dan.
call you names. I just said,
Don't go, Dan.
Why should I go to the beach? I didn't do anything wrong. Usually someone does something wrong on the air.
But Dan's the boss man.
You know what? I'm going to go to the beach.
God damn it!
What do you mean? What did I do?
Sustained.
I just gave us like
Somebody-
last school vibes for 6 minutes.
yeah.
Honestly, thank you for doing that.
Okay, so I got some water balloons here. I got some water balloons. Let's start
Did you
throwing
ever
them
do
all
like
away.
senior day pranks in high school?
Of course, like everyone with the water balloons, and we're just throwing water balloons at like underclassmen and stuff.
Yeah, but you never like see my class. I think started a fire somewhere, and that was
Oh, wow.
very dangerous.
Guys, let's prank the other room. I'm talking low because they have our feet on, so they can kind of hear. But if I'm whispering, they probably can't. What can we do to mess with the other room?
I don't know.
Do we have a whoopee cushion?
Bimo's there.
The problem is they can actually see us and we can't see them.
I like Bimo's haircut. Yeah.
It takes 2 weeks to grow into. He said. But senior day pranks. I also think my class also brought in like a flatbed truck and just put a parade float in the middle of the schoolyard. It's a time-honored tradition.
I think at my high school, some seniors like just unleashed a few like chickens in our like lower. Like, all of a sudden, there was just like chickens running
everywhere.
through the lower level.
And then, like years later, there's still chickens around.
Yeah.
It's like the great senior prank of 2007.
2010, we put a car in the middle of the patio. It was like an old beat up like Toyota Corolla from like '94, and somehow it got there. It was like green and yellow paint, like the school colors.
What did Full House do? Didn't Full House put a car on like the roof? I'm thinking back like Uncle Jesse. I don't know. When you said that, I thought of a Full House episode where they put like the
A lot-
principal's car like on a roof.
A lot of vehicles going on in you guys' school pranks.
Exactly.
We just threw water balloons at people.
Bel Air Academy.
Yeah.
It was a '94
We tip
Corolla.
cows.
I mean,
What'd y'all do, JuJu?
We tip cows. I went to
Tip
the country.
cows?
I went to
Cow
a school
tipping.
for agricultural and horticultural sciences. So we had to like farm
That last
and
part-
fish.
Wait,
Tracks.
cow tipping. Wait, cow tipping's a real thing.
It's a real
I,
thing,
and
brother.
I just know it from Tommy Boy, where he's like, you put your shoulders into it and you push.
Oh, no. 18% usually.
Tell us the science behind cow tipping.
It's very illegal, so we're not gonna get into that. But
It's
The
illegal?
statute of limitations.
Wait, is it illegal to
that
tip
you've
cows?
seen people do, not that you've
yeah.
done it.
What is
Yeah.
this, Europe?
you gotta get on like what's this Marcus Spears, big man balling. You just gotta
The low
get up
man.
in there.
Low man wins.
Low man wins, and the cows usually sleep.
So Chris Farley was right. You get down and you get low and you push.
Roy, any high school pranks when you were graduating?
Yeah, usually the seniors take. Well, I was going. They had super soakers back then. It was still going, and they unfortunately they filled them with bleach and sprayed it at the people.
Jesus!
High school you went to, man.
Could have given me 1,000 guesses. I don't know if I would have said bleach.
I may live to regret this for several reasons. But Jeremy, any senior day pranks? at your school?
Last year, what'd you guys do?
Was it like a wet willy or something?
Nothing I participated in. No, Mike. I was a very good high school child who, just followed the rules.
get
and
out of here. Get
That's
out
why I
of
have
here.
information now.
Yeah.
Join Dan and Neil.
Weedy Jr.
I hate Jeremy's, by the way.
I believe Jeremy went to class. His last day of school.
Yeah, hey
And so he
guys, we
attended
shouldn't
all-
do this.
I
We're
did.
gonna get caught. Hey guys, we're gonna get caught
Some,
doing
no,
this.
no, not even. It's some of us are here to learn. Sat right there in the front row.
Vintage
Nobody
line.
else in the classroom.
I know what we could do to mess with the other room. Let's just all act like we're talking, but like don't say words. I know it's bad for our podcast audience,
Sure.
but it's a good prank. All of a sudden they'll be like, "Are they on mute? Like, did someone turn the volume like that? Like what Amin's doing right now?"
That's a great prank that we shouldn't have telegraphed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they heard it.
Now they heard it. Yeah.
They know what we're doing.
You think Dan is at the ocean by now?
Yeah, because someone, Jeremy, go verify that Dan went to the ocean. Okay.
The commute to this place was always interesting for me. I remember the very first commute that I took out here, because prior to we were at Miami Gardens, which the vistas are a bit different when you're driving into South Beach, and it was just I remember I'm like, I will never get tired of this drive.
Really?
And then like 6 months later, I was tired of that drive.
Roy, you were here on day one, right?
Yeah.
What was your first impressions?
Wow, this is an amazing place. And then mostly around the time he got tired of his drive, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go straight home. I'm not going to stay. I'm just going to go straight home.
Well, because if you stay, the traffic is so much worse.
Yep, exactly. I learned that one out quick.
But it was 7 o'clock, right? It was 4 to 7 at the
That
time.
was really difficult.
Yeah,
because when we started here, we were the afternoon shift. And so there were times that I'd get home at around like 9 o'clock, which was not very fun.
On Fridays, I would have like one cocktail. I was like, oh, Friday, like
because traffic was still bad.
Like traffic's bad. You walk out, it's like dark. It's just like, all right.
Yeah, we've done like maybe 2 appetizers. It looks like Mike Fuentes is in the Zoom. That could probably be Dan from the beach. So let's let him into the Zoom.
He really went. Son of a bitch. He actually did it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we never did the happy hour thing for being attached to the bar. I remember thinking, oh man, the studio is going to be right next to a bar, and then I realized I never would ever go.
Rare occasion.
I've had a drink with Roy downstairs at the
yeah, I think
I don't know what is it called now.
We've done it like a handful of times.
I think I've had fewer than 10 drinks here at the Cleveland.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've still spent $900 on drinks. Despite having fewer than 10.
That damn bottle service.
Yeah, but there's always the interesting crowds that come here. Spring break would always be, mostly before the pandemic, spring break was just a disaster for traffic, but great people watching. And also there was the death metal cruise that would always launch out of Miami.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Death metal cruise was always great people watching. And whenever bowl games were in town, you'd have different fan bases out here. But I think Miami Music Week, when we were in the afternoon shift, and you couldn't make it through a show without the bass bleeding through, was also a hell of a memory.
Yeah.
Chris, what was your first memory of the Cleveland?
I remember like me, Roy, and Billy being in the studio, and like before, like probably a week before we even went live, where it was just like we were in here. It was like the walls were all barren. We were doing some like testing stuff. Or like I think Mike, remember I sat in there. We like did a test show where
we did a lot of tests.
I wasn't even talking on air hardly at this point, but they put me in that seat just because like they were running all this stuff. So I had to sit there, and I was like nervous to do that. It was literally I was like thinking of like what am I gonna say? They want me to. So I like literally brought notes for a fake show we were doing because I was so like unused to talking. Like look how good I am at it now. I mean, God, no one talks gooder than me.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, I was here well before day one, like official day one. I was here when it was just an empty space. I remember when we had an event here, and it wasn't a studio space; it was a lounge space, and that was when Dan did the Speedo thing. Mm-hmm. That was actually in these that was in these studios with Charles Barkley. So there's a photo of Dan with "I love Miami" body paint because he's insecure about his body, wearing a Speedo, and that was actually where the HQ set.
Yeah,
the biggest Speedo you've ever seen. It like went above his belly button.
Boxer shorts, basically.
Friends I don't let friends get in Speedos. Y'all let him down so bad, and that picture lives on the internet.
Well,
embarrassed for y'all.
LeBron let us down.
That wasn't a show bit though. That was Barkley that made him do that.
Yeah, they made a bet, and Barkley would have owned up to it. So the risk reward was there because Barkley would have been in the Speedo had JJ Barea not successfully posted up LeBron James.
Oh, those were the days,
dude. Well, that's why we got this entire studio is because of the Heat Big Three.
Oh yeah, because my ESPN was down to put money in.
Yeah, I think we moved in like 2 years into the 4 year. Man, it's looking back on it, it was really just a flash in the pan.
Yeah, it wasn't that long at all.
It wasn't that long,
but it felt so transformative, man.
Where does flash in the pan come from? Who started that?
Oh, yeah, it's like a cooking thing.
Yeah, when, like when
when you're sautéing something, there's
flambe.
a little quick. Yeah.
Okay.
A flambe
in the pan.
Yeah.
Flan.
Yeah. Is Dan ever coming back?
I don't know.
But his move is brought to you by Miller Lite.
You got that right.
Perfect beer to have on the beach. I love you guys.
Oh.
But you're not serious people.
What does that mean?
Even me?
What do you mean? Look at me.
JuJu, we've had some mic issues, some soft issues on how people sound as you learn, but everyone has forgiven it because you're doing a hell of a job so far as the executive producer of the show. It's a lot to handle.
You're not appreciating the theater of the mind. He is playing with the tones of his voice because that gives texture. Not everyone can sound like a loudmouth all the time, Dan Le Batard.
Understood, but Samson's mic and his mic were a little low, and that's the executive producer and the board ops job to make sure to handle that, and he's learning.
Well, when it comes to his microphone, it can't go higher. That's just
I spend too much time in the studio doing things. I gotta enunciate now that I'm in this chair.
Are you ready to do Joker of the Week? You have, as part of your executive producing, you have put yourself in a star capacity. There's a little bit of Stugotz in everybody. Are you ready to do a segment does this segment have imaging, or is it just a JuJu specific spotlight?
We always got imaging, baby. Born ready. Born ready. Yes, sir. So the first inaugural Joker of the Week goes to Jill the Thrill Biden.
wow.
Oh my God.
Dr. Jill the Thrill Biden.
Dr. Jill the Thrill.
Dr.
Your heart was in the right place, I promise. Unfortunately, your Joker was on your forehead.
Yeah.
You made it all about Iowa sportsmanship. It got so messy. Salute to you for trying, but ma'am, you are the Joker of the Week. Back to you, Daniel.
Thank you, JuJu. We have a bunch of sound to get to here. There are a number of things that I want to get to, including this Cam Newton sound.
That was royalty-free Dr. Dre. I love that.
Is any of that going to improve with the new studio?
What? You think we have licensing because we just moved into a new place?
Now we got Dr. Dre. We can get all his music now.
Well, we got his cousin.
It seemed like we were moving on up. It feels like we're moving on up.
Dr. Trey.
Yeah. Instead of Scott Storch, we have Scott Starch.
Yeah.
Okay.
West Coast vibes.
Let go down, let go down. Oh, we got the Joker of the Week. My boy 10-Day T.
Hey.
And we got Darth Amin. And Chris Cozy. Oh,
Roy Belly.
yeah.
Roy is always figuring out ways to try and get in and squeeze in where he can, even if JuJu wasn't allowing him to squeeze in.
We were laughing in the post game because Roy's workshopping a new character, which is Bring It Home Roy, which is he's trying to have the last line in every segment. I don't know if it's the last week of the Clevelander thing, but his timing has been so off, we've had to cut him off and post like every time this week. He's Bring It Home Roy.
Yeah, very rare instance of me screwing that one up. So
He's calling for the ball in the final shows of the Clevelander. He's like, I'm getting my walk-off line.
I'm breaking. Oh man, no, that's not fair, JuJu. That's not fair.
I want to play some sound here for the people of Cam Newton, going through the list. Originally, the quote, I don't know where the first quote originated from, but he said there were not 32 motherfuckers better than him starting at quarterback in the league. And people are saying, well, if you're not willing to be a backup, then you're not going to be in the league because we've seen you be a starter here, and it seems to...
It's just the way that you said MF.
The hard R.
The hard R.
Hard R.
Yeah,
32.
It was McAfee too. That's where he said it.
I thought that I was quoting him directly.
You were, but
You sounded super white. I'm saying that, Dan. Come on.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I'm not going to fight you guys. I think I would have sounded whiter, though, if I had not done hard R.
No. Try it with an A. Yeah. Try it right now.
There aren't 32 motherfuckers
no.
better than me in the league. Here is the sound of Cam going through. Now he's willing. He's moved off his position. His Auburn Pro Day didn't go as well. I mean, there is some shame involved.
Wait, it's not mother, though. It's mother.
All A's.
Yeah. So try one more
So there are
time.
no hard R's in it.
No. Stay away from a hard R. Try it one more time.
There are not 32 motherfuckers better than me in the league.
See, now that's better.
Salute
I don't
to
think
you.
it was. I think they were all equally bad. I think all of them were equally white.
Salute to you, white guy.
Let's play the sound of Cam. I don't know this this is just from YouTube. This is Cam on YouTube. He's got a cigar in his hand. He has got a hat that he is wearing that I legitimately asked people, is that his hair protruding through the hat, or is he going for a look that's a hat that looks like his hair is protruding through the hat?
You think the hair is attached to the hat?
That's
actually a great idea.
Remember those Rasta hats? It was like a knit hat and it has the locks.
Which is more ridiculous? Which is more ridiculous? That he's got a hat that's got no top. It's a sunroof. And so his hair pops through, or just a hat that's got fake hair on it that looks like his hair.
Called the Coolio.
Which is more absurd? I don't know. Let's play the sound from YouTube. Cigar smoking Cam Newton giving you a list of the quarterbacks he is willing to play behind.
I know a lot of people have a lot of things to say in regards to my future in the NFL, and I wanted to set the record straight by saying this is how I feel. There ain't 32 guys that's better than me, but I also know that I could also be a backup, and I'm willing to be a backup. Players that I will back up. Number one, I'll back up Deshaun Watson. It goes without saying, me and Deshaun Watson's relationship, he was on my 707 All-Star team. I've grown to admire the person, the athlete that he is, going through a lot of turmoil, but I believe that's behind him. My number two person will be wherever Lamar Jackson decides to go. Number three will be Justin Fields, another C1N product. Number four will be Tua Tagovailoa. Number five will be Malik Willis, another C1N All-Star representative. And I would say there's three rookie quarterbacks that I would love or enjoy to groom. Any of these rookie quarterbacks, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson. Any one of those guys, I would be happy to back those guys up. Who we got? Number 7, Jalen Hurts. Number 8 would be Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, there it is.
Number
White
9
guy. Cool.
would be Josh Allen.
We're back.
And number 10 will be Sam Howell, another C1N
What?
alumni.
The commies? No, he's just giving shout outs to people that have been through his camp.
No. You guys are missing what's happening here. Let me translate to you what Cam Newton is very intelligently doing. He's picking anyone who is a risk to not play, right? So guys that get hurt a lot, guys that are old and may want to retire and smoke ayahuasca or however you consume it.
Drink it.
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
not smoked.
I don't know. Or guys that are rookies, so that they'd probably be benched anyway. He's definitely playing his cards.
Or Sam Howell.
Or Sam.
Sam Howell was
How about you don't lead with Deshaun Watson, dude?
You-
I have so much admiration
No,
for how
hold
he's
on.
handled himself
As
on
a
the field.
person.
As a person, what are you doing?
Absolutely lead with Deshaun Watson because he's the biggest risk of them all. He might go to jail, man. Like that's an open spot right there. All you got to do is wait.
Chestnut checkers.
Yeah, 3-dimensional.
Let's play a couple of other sounds that we have here. We don't have the audio because it's bad audio of how John Harbaugh looked when asked during a pre-draft press conference about Lamar Jackson. And the media person did what media people do. Cut in and said no questions about Lamar Jackson, and John Harbaugh just stared straight ahead the entire time without answering the question. Why'd you make that sound when I said Jim Harbaugh?
Because in the pre-show meeting, I mentioned that I can't tell Jim and John Harbaugh apart, not by name and not by face. And you just did exactly what I would have done, which is mix up the names. And so it's not that hard.
But I wouldn't mix up the people. I would just no. What do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah. What kind of show are we doing?
I mean, you did just mix up the people.
I can mix up the names,
Okay.
not the people.
Okay.
So the faces you've got, but the names.
They're not
so-
twins.
I mean, they kind of look the same.
They do look a little similar.
I mean, Amin's the only one that gets them mixed up, though. Most people that know them.
I wouldn't. Me personally, I wouldn't mix them up.
But this is Amin's expertise in basketball, because I asked him when he said that earlier, I asked him, would you be able to tell the Morris twins apart in basketball? And his answer is yes, and they have the same tattoos. None of us would be able to tell
I don't believe that.
the Morris twins.
I don't believe that Amin can do that.
So do the Harbaughs, by the way. They have the same tattoos.
Was that a chicken? Was that a stray chicken that just made an appearance on Lionel Hassan?
time. You can't tell Marcus from Marky. Their mothers can't tell each other from a boy. Who do you think you are? Some son's veteran?
Is that chicken from the 20s?
Can we test him? Is there a way to test
We're on it, Dan.
Amin without uniforms? There is some basketball I did want to talk to here. We will get to it in a second because the Lakers and Clippers played a hugely interesting game last night. We'll get to that next. Feels like the Western Conference playoffs have already kind of started. Such an interesting conference the whole year. Amin told you yesterday he thinks that the bottom 4 seeds are going to be favored to come out of the West.
Well, I think he included, because Phoenix was at the time number 4,
Yeah.
so 4 and below.
4 through 7 is what I said.
But the Lakers played the Clippers last night. Both of those are very good teams. Russell Westbrook is now on the Clippers, and a couple of things happened last night if you like all the soap opera narrative stuff. No interaction between Russell Westbrook and the Lakers around the game, before the game, no interaction. And then after the game, Anthony Davis says, yes, our game plan was to let him shoot. Just flatly. Former teammate, that was our game plan, and he made the shots, and the Clippers win. And after the game, quiet as it's kept, Ballmer and the Clippers haven't taken LA from the Lakers, but the Lakers can't beat them. The Lakers have lost the last 11 times they've played against the Clippers. And Kawhi, in typical Kawhi style, somebody was trying to make a big deal about that game with Kawhi, and Kawhi simply wouldn't let them.
Kawhi, I know every game you play against is an important game, but is this the most meaningful game you've played against the Lakers in the time you've been here?
I didn't feel that way.
Just with everything that's at stake in terms of the playoff season.
I didn't feel that way.
And there you go, an emotional Kawhi Leonard
Relax, Kawhi.
feeding the lighter fluid on the bonfire that you need to tell some of these stories. I mean, Kawhi, a lot of people were talking a couple of weeks ago about the way Lou Dort locked down Kawhi Leonard at the top of the key, the way that Kawhi Leonard used to lock down everybody at the top of the key. Not to make anything of that game between the Clippers and the Lakers, and not to say that the Clippers can ever take that town from the Lakers, even if they keep beating the Lakers. But what the Clippers have built and what they're trying to do, has it been successful?
It's successful in the context of what that franchise has been. It was the laughing stock of sports. It's like when you wanted to compare things to being bad or inept, you use the Clippers as an example. There are a bunch of 90s TV shows, when you watch them, they'll use the Clippers as like the punchline, and they are no longer that. Specifically with the Lakers, in the last 10 years, they're 32-7. They're 32-7, including 11 straight, as you said. They haven't lost to the Lakers since the bubble. So, in just kind of the gray of we're no longer a joke of a franchise. We have the richest owner in sports, I believe, and when they can talk all the trash they want about marketing, about market size, whatever, but when they see us on the court, we beat them like a drum. From that standpoint, the Clippers have been a massive success. The flip side of it, obviously, is that they've only made it to conference finals once in their franchise history.
I think they're an afterthought. I think when people talk about the West, that no one takes them seriously in the analysis of that team has a chance to come out of the West.
They're flawed, but they're flawed. They're flawed. I don't think their point guard play is strong enough, and I don't think they play a style of basketball that is conducive to winning in the playoffs. That's a reality. I said 4 through 7, Phoenix, Clippers, Warriors, Lakers. I think one of them is going to win the West. If I had to rank them, the Clippers would be the weakest of the 4 because I think they just have flaws in the way they play that make them easy to exploit and easy to beat.
We haven't talked a lot. We'll get to doing this Morris Twins test with Amin in a second, but we have not talked a lot around here for all the obsessing we did about Kyrie Irving for months and months and months, about what happened to the Dallas Mavericks when he got there. He is playing very well. Just like Jimmy Butler might be playing the best basketball of his career, but the team isn't very good. Kyrie Irving gets to Dallas. They were the 4 seed, and since then, they've completely fallen apart. All they do is lose games. Is that because their defense is bad? Is it because the usage rate being shared between Luka and Kyrie makes Kyrie fine, but makes Luka less than. And if you make Luka less than and then make your defense worse, Dallas suddenly becomes a team that's bad.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very simple answer, and you hit it. It is their defense. Their defense has been horrendous. They, in essence, in order to plug the hole left by Jalen Brunson, which is we need someone else who can come in here and create offense for himself and others in a way that we don't have to, we don't have to rely on Luka for everything. In an effort to fill that void, they created another void, which is defense. They traded Dorian Finney-Smith, who was one of their best defensive players, and not only just in terms of his individual talent, but also his switchability, his flexibility. So Dallas has been, I believe, after last year being a top 10 defense, no one thinks about that. Jason Kidd's first year there, they were a top 10 defense with Luka Doncic in that lineup, which was incredible. They regressed to bottom 10 defense overall, and then when they did the deal, now they're bottom 5 in defense since they did that deal. And that's not just Kyrie. It's not like, because Kyrie isn't a great defensive player. It's because they lost competent defensive players in the mix. And also, they've dealt with injuries. If you look at their record, they've lost 17 of their last 24 games, right? So this is a team that's in some amount of turmoil here. But Luka missed a bunch of time in there. Kyrie missed a bunch of time in there. So there are other mitigating circumstances, but the easy answer and the most strong answer is, they're not good defensively at all.
I've got a couple of questions about them, though. One, Jason Kidd said about 3 weeks ago, something happened, and he's like, you got to ask the players. I'm watching like the rest of you, which was just lame. Unbelievable answer from him. Your thoughts, as he says to the reporters questioning him, I'm like you guys. I'm just watching.
I mean, I think that's kind of one of those subliminal messages sent through the media to his players. It's something probably he's mentioned over and over again and talked about and not getting the kind of results or the response that he's looking for. And so this kind of puts them on blast a little bit and puts the onus on them. It
does? I just thought it was a lack of accountability. Does it put them on blast when he's just saying, I'm not doing anything, I'm just watching?
I think it is if his message to the team, because we don't know what he says to the team, right? So if his message to the team is, guys, we got to do this. Guys, you got not listen. Guys, you're not paying attention. So then they still don't do it. They ask you, hey, what's going on? I was like, I'm just like you guys. I'm watching. In other words, these are the guys. They know better than me. They're doing it the way they want to do it. That's not on me. That's something that eventually gets back to the players. And of course, there's a level of embarrassment there that you feel. And I'm guessing he's trying to get them to react to something, because Jason Kidd, through his tenure as a coach, both in Brooklyn and Milwaukee and now Dallas, we know that he's kind of like a no-nonsense, a little bit of an asshole. If you read the Giannis book by Miriam Fader, it's very obvious that Jason Kidd is not a player's coach. He is very old school in his coaching style.
We also know that franchises get better after he leaves.
I mean, there are reasons. There are reasons for that.
Yes, personnel-wise, too. The teams have also gotten
He
better.
doesn't get to not be one of them. If Kyrie Irving's going to get that, every team that he gets to gets a little bit worse. Jason Kidd doesn't get to not be one of the reasons.
Well, he doesn't make teams worse, though. Jason Kidd doesn't make teams worse. It's just...
He only has a cap on how far he can take them.
He gets them to a certain point, and then someone else...
And then says, I'm just watching. Yeah. And then gets them to a certain point, and then jumps from a sinking ship publicly, where he's like, okay, they did that, not me. But Mark Cuban said something here that I wanted to get to with you, because I don't know how common or uncommon it is. Mm-hmm. He said they lost Brunson once the parents got involved.
You want to talk about lack of accountability. That's lack of accountability, because they had an opportunity to extend Brunson before the season. They lowballed him there. They had an opportunity to extend him in the middle of the season. They lowballed him there. He has an amazing playoff run. And then at that point, two things happen. The number goes up significantly, but when Mark Cuban finally is saying, okay, we'll pay it, what's happened now is the player, Jalen, has now felt that taste of, I'm not a supporting cast guy in the shadows, just here when Luka's hurt, Luka doesn't feel like playing or whatever, or when Luka's in foul trouble. I'm a guy who can be the main fixture of an organization on my own. And the Knicks, kudos to them, recognized that. They showered him with love. They framed him as what he was in their eyes, which was a franchise-level player. We're going to put the ball in your hands and let you do stuff. And at that point, yeah, it was too late. I've seen it a million times. I saw it with Mark Cuban, with Steve Nash, where Steve Nash got a $65 million offer from the Suns, and Mark Cuban said he won't finish that contract, so it doesn't matter. And it blew up on him, obviously. Steve Nash winning 2 MVPs. I saw it with Joe Johnson with the Suns, where the Suns and Joe Johnson were about $2.5 million apart total. I think it was something like $750,000 a year apart, and before the season. And they said, okay, well, I guess we'll just see how the season plays out. Well, he was an all-star, and the team won 62 games, and he was incredible. And now that number, what is 42.5 over 7, is no longer on the table. It's now $90 million, with $20 million due on November 1st. And oh, by the way, Joe doesn't want you to match. So this hubris that owners have, that, it's my guy, we'll take care of it, whatever, and then it backfires on them, and then they want to blame other things as a reason why.
I haven't seen parents blamed a whole lot, though.
Well,
That's not something I've seen a lot of.
Well, I mean, Rick Brunson, it should be said, Rick Brunson's a former NBA player. Rick Brunson's been a coach in this league.
Former New York Knick.
Former Knick, and now is obviously on the staff with the Knicks with Tom Thibodeau, but he was on Tom Thibodeau's staff in Chicago and Minnesota, so it's not like the old college, I'll hire dad for you to come here. This guy is a coach, like a bona fide NBA coach, but obviously the Knicks did everything to put their things in their favor that Dallas couldn't or wouldn't do at the time.
We're going to get to whether or not Amin is a fraud and put the Morris twins and their photos in front of us. But first, bring us home, Roy.
He's not going to be able to do it.